Grasshoppers, welcome. Do not force a card at the National. Let the cards come to you. Consider a wet bar of soap, not in a prison. If you grasp the soap too tightly, it will pop out of your hand. But if you grasp the soap too loosely, it will slip right out of your hand. Do not force a card at the National, or any big show, or eBay, or anywhere online, or any card shop, or any flea market, or any Walmart, or any 7-Eleven, or even Big Jojo's Pancake House. Never, ever force a card. Let that card come to you. Woo! I hired a Zen-Master to give us the #1 card collecting tip. Let the cards come to you. Don't force it. I tell you what, I am excited about the 2025 National. It could be another big show as well. It wouldn't need to be the National necessarily, although that's the big one. And of course, Strongsville, which I have not been to, is, huge for vintage. But getting to see my friends that I have not seen for a year, or people I have connected with on various levels online that I have, not seen face to face, and now I'll have opportunity to do that. Just really stoked. And then, of course, I love the show itself. I've went the last 3 years. I've been to 3 Nationals, and I tell you what, Wednesday night, I'm always totally overwhelmed. Totally. So we'll see how that goes this year. But yeah, I love to shop the National, and I love the fact that I don't know what I'm going to get. I have cards in mind, of course, several cards in mind, but I'm going to see what comes to me. I may end up picking up one or more cards I had not anticipated picking up. I mean, it will fit into one of my collecting themes, almost certainly, or it won't. But yeah, heck, I'm hoping I pick up something that I did not expect, or more than one card that I did not expect. So, and I'm also hoping to pick up some cards that have been on my mental or physical want list for some time that it'll be exciting to make some progress in that regard, whether it's my Willie Mays player run, Topps player run, or whether it's my 38 Goudy Heads Up with Cartoons project, or something else. I'm just stoked to see how it plays out. The big thing for me is there's a zen to it, to me, which really is just observing and using both my head and my heart to make sure that my purchases satisfy my head and they satisfy my heart as well. Now, the head part is usually, more related to the money. The heart part is really more related to the kind of the emotional attachment, the way that the card kind of speaks to me. But, I think we can make mistakes either way, which is our heart kind of overrules and maybe we spend more than we should, just to give one example. Or maybe we get emotionally excited and buy a card and then later on we wish we had saved those funds that we could put toward another card. So, of course, our heart can get in the way, but at the same time, our head can get in the way as well, where maybe we buy something where our heart's just saying, maybe there's something kind of bugging me here, or I don't know. But then our head's saying, well, you haven't, seen one of these for a while, have you? And, here it is, and it makes sense, and you're at the National, and you're here to pick up cards, right? Or you were hoping to get this card, so you should just go ahead and get it. And so, I want to make sure with my purchases that they are satisfying both my head and my heart. And I think that's a nice litmus test to make sure that we don't make any mistakes. Now, can mistakes be corrected? Sure, especially small ones. We can sell or trade the card. Big ones, there tends to be a greater cost, transactional cost, if we're trying to correct these, bigger mistakes. But yeah, I guess if you're somebody who's collecting cards that are rare and you've been looking for one for quite some time and it comes up and it may not, then you might have to wrestle with, should I buy this even if I'm not, I would rather have a copy that's maybe doesn't have this, but these almost never come up. Well, then you got to wrestle with that. Me, not so much, because there's not really too much I collect that, that I can't just be patient and wait for another copy if I'm not pleased with the one in front of me. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. It can have issues. In fact, I'm really mellowing out some, which I'm kind of happy about. So, as long as the issues, I'm cool with the issues. As long as, what it really comes down to, I think, as long as the issues seem to me to kind of enhance the vintage appeal or, make the card, feel vintagey, but it still just looks nice to me, as opposed to just feeling, I don't know, damaged or that there's some blotch or something that's just distracting me that makes it feel like the card, has been, I guess, damaged, or that it's taking away from the visual appeal of the card. This is a really hard thing to describe because it's kind of on a case-by-case basis, I've had cards where the wrinkles don't bother me and cards where they do. Part of that is, of course, whether the wrinkle's going through the face, but I've had cards that are off-center that bother me and others that don't, and part of it depends on how far off-center and whether it's left, right, top, bottom, but still, it's hard to really put my finger on it when, somebody could probably find inconsistencies and say, well, Adam, how come you're willing to accept these flaws on this card, but this was a deal breaker, you got rid of that one? I don't know, but I listen to my heart in that regard. My heart gets to decide, do I like this copy or don't I? But of course, my head's got to be involved as well. As you can tell, I'm super stoked. Let me turn this camera around. Those were some of my national thoughts. I've probably got, I'm cruising now, 3 hours worth of national thoughts. But I'm excited to see many of you as well. I won't start calling you by name because I'm not that great with names, and also I'd leave lots of people out. But anyway, and then let me give you the list of people I'm going to try to avoid at the national as well. I got 17 people there. No, I'm just joking. All right, let me turn this camera around. Let me show you some of my favorite pickups from the 3 nationals that I have been to. All right, so it started in 2022, and here's a card that, kind of early on I had gotten into Willie Mays. So you could say this was kind of around the start of me seeking a Topps Willie Mays run. I've got a long way to go because I tend not to make progress that quickly, I guess because I've been working on some other projects as well. But at this national, I would love to pick up at least one more Willie Mays card. Hey, even one a year after 10 years, you've got 10 more. I mean, I think I'll go faster than that. I think at some point I'll really pick up some steam and really make some progress. But this is from the 2022 national in an exceptional 5. Wow. I like most of the Topps designs, but I think in 65, that's one of the years where they just knocked it out of the park. And I love purple as well, and that big yellow pennant. Some people don't care for shots where the player's kind of looking, I guess, contemplative, or however you want to describe the look, whatever you think the look is on Willie Mays' face. But I like it. I really like it. I love it. I need more of it. And the back. I love the font up here. I mean, just, the vintage appeal. Wow. I just love vintage stuff. It relaxes me. It kind of helps to just, shed the stress, just the vintage stuff. Some simpler times. I know they weren't perfect times. They had some big issues, but some simpler times. Just that cool font, the number in the baseball. Yeah, absolutely love it. So that's from 2022. And then also at the 2022 National, I picked up this Black Beauty. Man, this is another year, 71, where I think Topps just knocked it out of the park here. The black, and then that, vibrant green and the yellow and the red. I mean, to me, this card is look how just stunning. Look how nicely centered it is from left to right. Even top to bottom, I think is really nice. See, just for me personally on this card, I don't need it to be any better centered. I mean, I think it looks practically perfect to me, even though I suppose it's probably supposed to go up a little. Glorious little white print dot there by my thumb on the right. And let's check out the back. I love this olive green as well, and getting that additional picture of Hammer and Hank. So that from the 2022 National. No, I've only shown this card, 123 times? This was my big purchase. At the 2022 National, the deal is that I had bought it in a PSA Authentic, and then I kept it for several months, and then I sent it off to SGC in the PSA slab, wondering, if it had issues. It did not say Authentic Altered, it just said Authentic on the PSA slab. And lo and behold, I was super stoked. I was on cloud 9, cloud gem mint 10 even, calling all of my friends and saying, man, oh man. It's funny, same card that was in the PSA holder. But, am I a shallow collector or what? Because it got this number and I was like, woohoo. Actually, I did not expect it to get a number. I thought, well, they're probably going to say, I didn't see anything wrong with the card, but, I thought since it was in a PSA Authentic that probably, SGC would find something. Maybe it was trimmed, although it measured the right size. So I couldn't see anything and I expected it pretty carefully. But I thought, is there some color added somewhere or what's going on here? So yeah, I was just super stoked. I didn't, any number I would have been stoked about. 1, 2, 3, whatever. I was just super stoked because that number means that in SGC's estimation, this card has not been messed with. So there we have it. Just a quick review of 2022. Oh, let me say one more thing about 2022. So I was so overwhelmed, especially that first night when I hadn't met anyone yet. I was just starting to connect with some people in this community, online, but hadn't met them in person. And so, here I am on the show floor all alone on Wednesday night, walking around, and I'm just overwhelmed, just the size of it. Traveling to Atlantic City, I'm not such a great traveler, and it was a crazy, crazy journey to get there. A couple planes, a train, a bus, and I was just, by myself, in a place I'm not familiar with, just this huge show, had more money to spend than typically I would, and I was just so overwhelmed. And so I tried to simplify, simplify. That's one of my techniques. If I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed or stressed or whatever, try to simplify the situation. And the way I did that was just by looking for Willie Mays. So I looked at ones, I looked at PSA ones, SGC ones, because the money I had from selling some coins, that was pretty much what I could afford was a 1. And they were all pretty beat up. And virtually all of them were more expensive than the PSA Authentic that looks so much nicer. So I pulled the trigger on the PSA Authentic. Mike Moynihan knew that dealer really well. I met him first at the National that night, and I said, hey, would you come check out a card with me? So he negotiated for me, which I really appreciated. Now, I have no problem negotiating. In fact, I think I'm actually, I think I'm pretty good at it. There's no secret. Just I'm pretty good, I think, at kind of getting a sense of where the dealer's coming from and just, in a very positive and productive way, trying to find a place, trying to get some sort of a discount that the dealer can work with, that I can work with. It's not that hard. Just being polite and, maybe showing some comps. And some dealers will say, nope, not going to budge. And that's fine too. I can always move on if I don't want to pay their price. But anyway, I was happy to have Mike Moynihan, baseball collector, negotiate for me because he had an established relationship with that dealer. In fact, he had bought his Mickey Mantle rookie card from that dealer. So I knew that, he could do better than me. So super stoked. There's 3 of my favorite pickups from 2022. Woohoo! All right, now 2023, check this out. this Gem Mint 3. This is insane, insane. I tell you, if you've ever looked for this card, that is spot on registration. But look at that. Wow. This is what I call a 10-3, good buddies. A 10 in the tomb of a 3. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I was so stoked to get this. I think the dealer wanted maybe $90 or $85. I think it was one of those two amounts. And we agreed on 70. And wow, wow, wow. It was one of those cards. You know how dealers will fit more cards in their case by kind of overlapping them. So I just seen a little bit of it. It caught the kind of the corner of my eye as I was walking through with, I think maybe Dylan, Double D, Vintage Baseball Cards, walking through with some of my collector buddies, at least one of them. And I stopped and checked this out. And yeah, oh yeah, so stoked to have that. To me, this is a 52 top sleeper, an incredible slugger, an incredible contributor to the Yankees. And of course, he was on the New York Giants for quite some time as well. And prior to that, the Cardinals. So he was on the Cardinals, the Giants, and and the Yankees, which is pretty amazing. And, you know, one of the best sluggers. I think that's a sleeper. If you're looking for a 52 tops card that's absolutely beautiful, and, you know, you can find low-grade copies that won't break the bank. All right, still in 2023, Dylan Double D, he told me he saw this card. I think we both, you know, we saw it, but he pointed it out and said, hey, you know, that's a really nice card. And he already had at least one copy of this. So, yeah, I got a great buy on this, too. I think it was it 350 or $400? But, you know, this is such a nice card. The dealer had it priced right. And I insulted him with an offer that he felt was too low. I didn't mean to, of course. But, you know, I came back a little later and just gave him a culpa and said, hey, I didn't mean to, you know, upset you with that offer. I'm willing to accept. Or then I made him a little bit higher offer. Like I say, it was either 350 or 400. I decided to pause the video and look it up. It was 400 rather than just bouncing around saying it was 350 or 400. But yeah, this is his solo card, the Miracle Mets. You know, centering's tough on this. This is just an absolute gem. Absolute gem that I picked up for 400. Man, I love those colors. Cartoons. I'm a big cartoon fan. Oh, yeah. All right. Also at the 2023 National. Now, here's an interesting tale with this card, but first let me kind of show it to you a little bit. The finest Barry Bonds refractor in a mint 9. That's just, you know, how they'll kind of press up against the case a little bit. So sometimes these refractors will show that. If you took them out of the case, it would go away, but that's not a good idea, I don't think. But look at that beauty. You know, out of this set, now this is the only card I have in the set. I mean, I'd love to have the Ricky Henderson. I'd love to have the Nolan Ryan. Yeah. But the All-Star cards in this set, which have this glorious green, I kind of like them better than the other more regular cards, but they're all fantastic. Of course, this is Bond's card for the set, because if you were an All-Star, you got this All-Star, this card that says All-Stars. It's not really the All-Star card. It just indicates he's an All-Star. So this is his base refractor. I mean, in this set, there's just base cards and refractors. So this is the refractor of his base card. Super stoked. All right, let me tell you the story on this one. So the deal is that I had bought a 54 tops Jackie Robinson, really nice in a PSA or SGC 5. I forget which one. And then after I bought it, there was something about it that was just bugging me condition-wise. It was still a nice card, but it was just bugging me. And I was kind of bummed out, you know, because you don't want to, you know, go spending a bunch of money. I spent kind of high on that because it seemed to be so nice. But then there was this chip that was just bugging me that was just kind of really obvious to me. Because I was, you know, maybe I was being too picky, but hey, it was just bugging me. And I'm like, you know, this isn't the fun that I want to have, like buying something and spending a bunch of money on it if it's bugging me. Where's the fun in that? So I said to myself, well, just sell it, the next day at the show. Even if you take a little loss, you've got tons of dealers here. This is the place to sell it. So I shopped it around a little bit and didn't have to wait too long until I got an offer that was not too far off what I spent. I lost a little bit, but I was more than willing to just cut my losses. And so I had some more bucks, and lo and behold, I had, I had those bucks, plus I had a little bit left over. And then I saw this, and I was with Dave, Legends of the Dugout. Yeah, my buddy Dave. We were walking around the last day that I was there. I think this was Friday, and I saw this, and then I said, what the heck, I'm going to spend into the future. So I did not have enough, but I PayPal friends and family an additional $500 to make this deal happen. And yeah, oh yeah, that's the key to my Barry Bonds collection, where I try to get at least one card from each year for Barry Bonds. And also I try to get at least one refractor from each year that he has a refractor. So, starting in 93 is when the refractors started, of course. So yeah, that's the key card to that collection. Super stoked. All right, one more. Now, here's another story that goes with this card, because I did not buy this copy at the 2023 National. I bought a PSA 1. Dylan was with me. He really wanted it, and then he eventually got his own absolutely gorgeous PSA 1.5, later on, not at that show, but later on. And I was with him when he made the most epic trade for a 52 Bowman Mickey Mantle, so that was pretty cool. Because I know he was a little bummed when I got this. I mean, he was happy for me, for sure, but he was like, oh man, he realized how much he wanted this card. So I'm so stoked that he ended up getting one. Well, mine kind of had some wrinkling through the face and some other issues that, I just absolutely love this card. It's one of my favorite cards. It might even be my favorite card. It's right up there, big time. And the one that I had was just kind of bugging me. So this year I sold it, made a big profit, but then I bought this, and it cost, the market had went up. So it's almost like selling your house for a profit, but then you got to buy another house. So, did you really make out? Sold for a profit, but then I had to buy for more. But that's okay. I upgraded from a PSA 1 to an SGC 1, because we all know that not all ones are created equal. This, my friends, is a pristine 1. Woohoo! A little bit of mottled paper loss, but you know what? This card gets so expensive. Even a 1's expensive. Something's got to give. And, I can live with that, because check this out. The color, the centering, the corners, the registration, which is so tough, the vibrancy, this thing just pops. Let me show you the back. So this is my replacement card, And I must confess, for all that time I spent kind of, questioning my previous copy, can I live with this? Can I not? I should have just enjoyed it until such a time as I upgraded. But hey, that's the human condition. We don't always behave in the best possible way. There you have it. 4 stunners from 2023. Oh yeah, let's move on to 2024. All right, this was the steal of the show for a measly $160. I mean, I'm not saying $160 is measly. That's a lot of money to spend on cardboard. But for this card, it's measly. Look at this. The 51 Burke Ross, number 2-1, Stan Musial. Just such a sweet card. I mean, this is just vintage nostalgia here on steroids with with this cool Burke Ross printing and those cars in the background, the big tree, the grass, the colors. Absolutely amazing card. By the way, at the 2024 National, all right, I'm spacing on names. I'm not so great with names. Joe, 4 soft corners. He got one of these as well, so we became clubbies there. So that's pretty cool. We got a picture of us together with our clubby cards here. So the dealer, he looked up comps, and he offered this to me for 160, which was below comps. And, I'm generally going to negotiate, of course, and seek to get some, a discount. But there are a discount off the asking price. But there are exceptions to that rule for me occasionally, not too often, but occasionally. And one is when a dealer offers me something at just a fantastic price, I will just, accept it. If I want the item, I won't try to get even more off. That's me. I'm not saying everyone has to do it that way, but I have no problem. If something's priced at $500 and I think it's worth $300, not $500, I have no problem offering like $275 to see if I can, if we can get a deal at $300. And if they just are like, no way, well, that's okay. That's okay too. So I have no problem offering what I think it's worth, but if a dealer offers me something at a fantastic price, I won't ask for more off. That's my approach anyway. All right, also from the 2024. Whoa, this was $360, so exactly $200 more than the Stan Musial. $360 on this stunner. The eye appeal is just insane. This is the Dr. J rookie, and it screams the 1970s, doesn't it? Yeah, how sweet is that? Little card meditation here. Yeah, this card called to me. By the way, if you're wondering why it's a 4.5 instead of a 10.5, well, the back is off center, which doesn't bother me a bit. The front, and the centering is insane. It's got a little bit of, I think, factory, what do you call that? Factory crinkling or whatever? Yeah. But visually, absolutely stunning. I'm going to put this one over here. We've got one more card to go. Oh, yeah. So I had written down on this Dr. J rookie, I had written down the booth, and I mean, this is a card that I wanted, but it wasn't high on my list, so to speak. I mean, I knew I wanted one someday, but it hadn't kind of risen on my mental want list. But the more I thought about this copy, eventually I had to go back. In fact, at one point, I just hightailed it over there and bought this bad boy. The seller had two of them. I think the other was maybe a 4. It was right around the same grade. It was pretty nice too. But to me, this one just blew that one away, even though that one was pretty nice. But this one is just super nice to me. And I checked a little bit later, that other one was sold as well. So really glad I got that one I did. All right, wrapping this up, my phone's down, getting down into the red zone, so I better move along. I can't believe this card lasted as long as it did, because I kept thinking about it, but I was holding out because I thought I might, get something else. And then finally I was like, Adam, you're ridiculous, man. You better pull the trigger on this bad boy. Got this from Bill Chappell or Chappell, however his name is correctly pronounced. Feel free to correct me if you know. 38 Gaudy heads up. Bob Feller rookie card. As far as I can tell, other than the factory, a little bit of factory diamond cut, other than that, this is just a gem. I consider a pickup like this just a gem. Now, this was my big pickup. It wasn't cheap. It was 2K. Yeah, 2K. Like a double, like a comma card times 2. But I tell you what, I think that was a great buy. I mean, from what I've seen, I've kind of kept an eye on these a little bit to get a sense of what they're going for. I think that was just a fantastic buy. Of course, how does this fit into my collection? Well, I'm working on the 38 Gaudy heads up with cartoons. So this is, after Joe DiMaggio, this is the next key card in that set. So yeah, super stoked to get this. If you see one of these, when I'm at the National, Double D, I know you're watching this. I'll be looking for you. If I see a nice one, lower grade, I will connect with you and we'll talk. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, absolute stunner. Yep, before you guys got lucky, because I'm just on a roll here. I could talk forever, but my battery could die. I guess I could just pause and plug it in, but maybe I should take the hint, huh? Let me turn this camera around. All right, everyone. Yeah, hey, if you've got national tips for me, tips that work for you, or tips for me to consider, hey, I'll listen. And if they resonate with me, of course, I mean, we all kind of have our own way of shopping and our own collecting style. But I want to hear your thoughts too, because I might incorporate some of those. Or even if I don't, I want to hear your thoughts because, I like to know how it's going for you and, how you're kind of doing it. And if you can't go to the national, I hope you're still having a great time collecting. Maybe you can go to a local show or find something nice online. Take advantage of those deals because the rest of us are at the national. Take advantage of some of those online deals. Thank you for listening to my thoughts, sharing in my joy. I look forward to seeing many of you within a handful of days or less. Take care of my collecting brothers and sisters.